How many storage facilities have you actually looked at in the past 30 days? I mean, actually found and evaluated, because here's the truth. Most people say they want to buy a storage facility, but they lack a system for finding deals. They will jump on Crexy and LoopNet. They'll scroll through listings. They'll wait for brokers to maybe send them an email. They'll jump into storage Facebook groups, hoping something pops up, but that is not a strategy. It's a hope. And in this video, I'm going to show you the cash flow maps method, which is the exact process we use to systematically find mom and pop storage facilities in the markets you identified in the last lesson, the market edge. And once you understand the cash flow maps method, you'll never wonder where the next deal is coming from. And here's the great thing. Anybody can do this because it doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time and an internet connection. So with that being said, let's break it down. All right, we are rocking and rolling. Welcome back. Now, if you've been following along by now, you've already built your buy box blueprint and you have your market map. And in the last video, we talked about the market edge. So you know what kind of deal you want, where you want to buy it, and you understand big picture where these deals live and where we can source them. Now, we are going to start to bridge the gap, and we're going to start to actually talk about how you can find the right facilities. And this is where the sauce starts to get formed. This is what we call the cash flow maps method. And that's where this comes in. It's the same exact process I use. It's what I've used to purchase multiple facilities. It's what I teach our Storage Wins coaching clients and what they have used to buy a lot of facilities. And this is what we do to uncover mom and pop storage facilities that are hiding in plain sight. And here's the best part. You don't need some fancy software. You don't need a website, a paid data, or any type of tool to start. All you need is internet access, right? Because we're going to be accessing Google Maps. So you need Google Maps, a little bit of curiosity, the desire to want to uncover these opportunities in cash flow maps, and the system that I'm about to share with you. So by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to start building your first list. And it's what I call my initial top 100 and then ultimately the top 300. And think about building a list and a database of mom and pop storage facilities in your buy box blueprint in your target market. And we're just going to build a list of mom and pop storage facilities. And then in the next videos and modules, I'll show you how to market to them. I'll show you how to generate the leads in those conversations. But let's take one step at a time here. Now, every single deal, I don't care where the deal comes from. It could be from a broker. It could be from a wholesaler. It could be direct to owner. It could be from any marketing channel that we're going to be discussing here in the Cash Flow Maps course and in this system. Eventually, those deals are going to get looked up on Google Maps. So the Cash Flow Maps method works no matter where the lead is originated. Okay, that's really, really important that you understand that. Think of this as the heart of the system. It's where we're going to start to look for and uncover all the opportunities, not just storage facilities, but the market, what's going on, and everything else. So think of Google Maps as your X-ray machine, and Cash Flow Maps is the secret sauce, the system that's going to show you how to use this X-ray machine when others don't understand it. Now, this lets you look beneath the surface of any market and spot opportunities that others miss. And what I'm going to first do is, I think it's going to make sense for me to give you the big picture. If you haven't noticed already, I like to first talk big picture so you understand the process, and then I'm going to get into the tactical. On this video, I'm going to get into the particulars. I'm actually going to show you what I do on Google Maps so that you can replicate it and start to build your list and have some success. So I'll first walk you through the overall process so that you understand what we're looking for, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and I'll show you exactly how I do it. So big picture, you don't have to do this. I just want you to hear me out and then you can follow along. After this video, I'm going to give you a few action items that I'm going to want you to move on so that you can start to build this muscle and understand this system and this process, which I believe is very simple. Anybody can do it. I've taught it to numerous people who have had success with it. So we're going to open Google Maps, and then I'm going to type in a particular city or a particular state in the country. And for you, I'm going to recommend that you start with your target market that you identified in your buy box blueprint and in the market map that we did in module 2. So once we identify a particular city and state, what we're going to do is we're going to type in, we're going to click on the nearby button. And I'm going to show you how to do this in just a few. We're going to click on the nearby button, and then we're going to type in self-storage or self-storage near me. And when you hit enter, you're going to immediately see a cluster of red dots. That is what is called the Google Map Pack. So each dot represents a storage facility that Google is recognizing and picking up. Now, one thing that I think is important for you to know is that doesn't necessarily mean that is all of the storage facilities in that area. In fact, if you can find a storage facility that doesn't have a Google My Business listing, it's not on the Google Map Pack, that can be a hidden gem that maybe others haven't uncovered. It's kind of the equivalent of driving in a neighborhood and seeing a house that just got boarded up and maybe others aren't aware of it, or it's kind of like the hidden gem. Think of it that way. But before we even get there, once we see the Google Map Pack and we see all these little red dots, we're going to zoom in and we're going to start to explore one of the markets from your market map. And you're looking for independent operators. We're looking for the mom and pop storage facilities. In other words, as we build our initial top 100 list and then eventually our top 300, and I'll walk you through how you do that, we're going to skip any of the REITs. Remember that REITs are real estate investment trusts like Public Storage, Extra Space, CubeSmart, Life Storage, U-Haul, KO Storage, right? Those are REITs. And then there's private equity that have multiple locations. We're not going to really get into that for now. But if it's a beautiful looking facility, what I would consider a Class A facility, a filter for many people is like, would you want to store your stuff there? Because it's just a beautiful facility. It looks freshly painted. It's very well lit. It's just nice. It's multiple stories. Those are not the facilities that we want to add on our list. We're looking for the mom and pop storage facilities, and you'll quickly be able to spot this. And in fact, once I share my screen and I walk you through this process, you're going to understand what we're looking for. So I'm going to actually provide you with our cash flow maps lead tracker, which is a simple Google sheet that has the column that has the name, the address, the phone number, the website, the email, the notes, and everything we look for. All right. So that way you can start to build your list on that particular tracker. So once we've identified an area, we're going to make sure that we're in satellite toggle view, which is I believe it's in the left-hand corner, depending on if Google has switched things around. I'll show you here in a few. And this is where you can actually see what the properties look like from above. So we're basically with our cash flow map system. Think of this as an X-ray. We're scanning for the long rectangular buildings that kind of look like concrete caterpillars, honestly. We're looking for traditional drive-up storage, metal roofs. You can quickly, with just a few reps, you can quickly start to see, hey, what is a storage facility and what's not. Again, we're going to avoid the REITs. We're going to avoid big multi-story buildings. Those are usually the institutional players. That is not what we're looking for. That's not who we're looking to contact. And before we start evaluating each site in detail, I always like to first zoom out and just get a lay of the land. I want to see the overall landscape. And what I'm thinking through as I'm looking here is like, can I spot any trends? Like what's going on in the area? Can I spot any like brand new subdivisions or developments or commercial projects? Are there any Walmarts, or what type of commercial real estate, retail, anything like that can I spot? If there's a Walmart, if there's a Starbucks, if there's anything well known like that, then chances are there could be some growth in the area, right? Because Walmart and these big businesses, like they do a lot of market research, and you can trust that a Starbucks or a Walmart supercenter is not getting put in a market that is dying or declining. Generally speaking, there might be some anomalies and some one-offs, but for the most part, I'm just trying to get a lay of the land. Okay, can I spot any visible growth or construction? I'm not diving into any details or specifics. I'm not looking up for city permits to see if there's any new construction of storage. Like that comes later once we start to get serious about a deal. Right now, I'm just building awareness. I'm just trying to get, I keep saying a lay of the land, because that's what it is. I'm surveying the landscape, so to speak. And one of the biggest checkpoints I look for is traffic visibility. Like I'm starting to look at the facilities. Where's the main artery, the main road, or the main interstate? I like to see facilities as close to that as possible. Which are the ones that are tucked away? If a facility sits on a near or a busy main road, then that's a good thing. Why? Because they get a lot of visibility from daily traffic. And checking the traffic count is something that we can always do later once we start to get serious about a particular deal or market. And the kind of daily drive-by exposure oftentimes just equals free marketing. And that could be a steady flow of rentals and business for you. If it's hidden behind trees or tucked away somewhere in some back road, it could still work, but understand that you're probably going to need to budget more for marketing, to have really, really good signage, very well-lit facility, You're going to have to invest in online marketing probably to fill it up, which are things that we typically want to do anyways. But don't get me wrong. We still want that organic traffic coming from just drive-by. Now, the quick zoom out kind of gives me, and it's going to give you some context before we start to zoom in. And that's where we've looked at the market as a whole. And we're actually going to start to zero in on each facility and just kind of do a scan using a system that I call the storage scan. And storage is actually an acronym. So before I share my screen, I want to give you a quick overview of what we're looking for in this storage scan. And I think it's pretty unique. And think of the word storage and how it's spelled out. And that is going to be the way that you remember, hey, let's just do a quick 7-step check that tells you in minutes whether a facility has potential, whether a facility is mom and pop operated, and it's worth adding to your list or not. Now, I will say, before I dive into the storage scan, I'm gonna want you to be more broad as you build your list, and then you can always start to as you hone your craft, as you start to understand the cash flow map system better, then you can start to get a little bit more hyper focused. You can start to add more filters. I would rather you be a lot more broad initially, and then you can start to hone in and once you find your groove. And what I mean by that is, for the most part, I'm gonna want you to add most facilities in your market map and in your buy box blueprint, except the exceptions, I should say, are the REITs and the private equity or institutional type facilities. Those I do not want you to add. Anything else I pretty much want you to add. Okay, so now let's dive into the storage scan. The S is site, as in website. So I always look to see, do they have a website? What's the condition? If they do have a website, what's the condition, the layout? Is it clean? Is it visible? Is it functional? Does it look like it was built by a high schooler way back in 1999? I mean, you would be surprised on a couple different fronts. Storage is a business, and I've said this before, it's a business with the benefits of real estate. And the majority of our customers come from online. And that's, in order to have an online presence, we got to have a website. Think of that as like your home. And imagine running and operating a business where a lot of the customers come from online because of your online presence, and then not having a website. That's like having a house with no roof and no door. It's crazy. And then sometimes people just live up in really old, beat up looking houses that need a lot of love. And sometimes that's the equivalent of these old school looking websites. I was recently on a website where like you literally saw, and I'm dating myself here, but like when the internet became a thing in like the 90s, and you know, the Internet Explorer E was like circling, rotating at the top. I was like, this is wild, but that's exactly what we're looking for. To me, that represents opportunity. When I was in the single family space and I would walk into an old beat up house that smelled like cat urine and it was like a hoarder's house, I wasn't disgusted. I was like, there's an opportunity here. Clearly there's distress and this person needs help. So the S is for site, as in website. The T is for traffic. Is it located on a near or major road, an interstate, a highway? Does it have good visibility? Or like I mentioned earlier, is it tucked away? Is it hard to get to? We own a storage facility in Florida that is just off of a main road, but it's kind of in the inner streets and it doesn't have the best visibility unless you turn on. And so we've had to invest a little bit more money into online marketing, some grassroots marketing. We would have not had to have invested as much money in marketing had that been on the main road. O is for online presence. So not only do they have a website, but what is their presence? What does that look like? Okay, do they have it? And we'll talk about a few other things that factor into the online presence. But the R, and R to me is kind of a two-prong R, right? The R can be two different things. R is for reviews. So how many reviews do they have? What's their average rating? If I see anything under 20 reviews, that's not a whole lot of reviews. If I see anything under 4 stars, that's an indication that they're not a strong operator. There's probably some customer service issues. There's things that are making the customer base unsatisfied or dissatisfied, I should say, with the facility. Are there any complaints, right? And so you can start to kind of scan the reviews. The other R is for rates. Meaning like, can you go to their website and do you see their rates? Can you rent online? Are they running promotions? Those are all indicators of the level of sophistication an operator. Are they sophisticated or unsophisticated? Do they look like a strong operator, or do they look like a mom and pop that's just kind of winging it? And that's all they know, or they don't have the energy or their bandwidth to want to really treat it like a business and dial in the operations. So we've covered S for site, T for traffic, O for online presence, R for reviews and or rates. A is for appearance. So I always go to Google Street View and I kind of virtually drive or walk up and down the street, and I'm looking at the facility. Do they have a sign that is faded and beat up and like one of the phone numbers is like off or peeled off? What's the general look of the facility? Does it look like a place where I might want to store my stuff? Does it look clean? Do they have cameras? Do they have lighting? Do they have a gate? I'm just getting a sense for the appearance, and I'm kind of judging it, honestly. I also look at, do they have photos on their Google My Business? Many facilities don't even have photos. Like literally the photo is just the Google Street View. And that's low-hanging fruit. Those are little things that give you a strong indication that, hey, this is not a dialed-in operator, because they would know that pictures sell, right? There's a saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And spending a couple $100, $200, $300, $400 to have a professional photographer take quality pictures of your facility can pay itself back in spades. It can be a multiple return on that small investment. Sometimes I see facilities that have like pictures that you can tell it was taken with an iPhone 8. It's like blurry, it's like crappy looking pictures. So the A is for appearance. G is for the Google listing. And the Google listing goes back to, do they have a Google business profile? Is it claimed? Is it accurate? Does it have their hours of operation? Does it have their phone number, right? So a lot of facilities don't even know, a lot of facility owners, I should say, don't even know that they can just go and claim their Google My Business profile for free. They don't even know that. And again, to me, that is low-hanging fruit. And it's critical that when you buy your first facility or your next facility, that you have your Google My Business profile. Okay, very, very important. And then finally, the E in the storage scan is email or their contact info. So one of the things I always like to do is if and when they have a website, I will go to their website. I'll judge the website, right? Does it look professional? Does it look clean? Is it visually appealing? Is it easy to navigate? I will always inevitably go to the contact us page. Now, here's why I want you to go to the contact us page. Many times, not always, but many times you're going to see an email address on that contact us page. And if you see at hotmail.com or at Gmail or at Yahoo, or believe it or not, sometimes I come across an at AOL, like super, super old school. That is another strong indicator that it is a mom and pop operator. Any and all of those factors, and you want to add them to your list. For now, the only facilities I want to be clear, the only facilities I do not want you to add to your list are Public Storage, Extra Space, CubeSmart, anything that looks like it's owned and operated by a REIT and or an institutional player. One other pro tip is when I go to a website, if I see that they have a locations on the menu bar, if I see locations, oftentimes that means that, hey, this is a player that they own multiple sites. Maybe it's in that general region, maybe it's across different states. For the most part, I'm not really adding those to my list. And some might say, hey, that's a mistake, but I'd rather go broad, but also narrow, if that makes sense. And I think you can have the best of both worlds. If you want to be really, really conservative, just add everything to your list, but I don't want you going crazy, spinning your wheels either. So now here's what I want to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if you just give me a moment to make sure that I can get the tech to work. Quick heads up. YouTube gives you the education, but inside the Cashflow Maps membership, you get the implementation. Every single module unlocked, all the spreadsheets, underwriting calculators, templates, scripts, everything neatly organized in one place so that you can actually execute. If you want the full system instead of having to piece together the videos here on YouTube, click the link in the description, create your free account, and get access right now. Now let's keep going. We're gonna actually go in and I'm going to apply everything I just shared with you. We're gonna do it in actual real time here on Google Maps, okay? So that you can see exactly how I go about using the storage scan and what I'm looking at. And so hopefully you're able to see my screen. I'm just on Google right now. So if you go to maps.google.com, or let's just say I forgot that, and I'm just going to go Google Maps. And I'm going to click on Google Maps right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's say that right now I don't have my market map in front of me, or I don't have my target markets. You are likely going to have your target markets. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and put the state of Kentucky, and then I'll start to narrow down. All right, so I'm going to go to Kentucky, and then let's pick a market in Kentucky. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do any research on the demographics and all the things that you learned earlier for the sake of time in this video and for the training. I'm just going to zoom in. And one of the things I like to do is I like to pick towns that are in between secondary or primary markets. What do I mean by that? So Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville's a pretty big city. It's probably a secondary market. Lexington, another bigger area. Obviously, you got Nashville, Tennessee over here. So I'm going to see if I can find something in between Louisville and Nashville. All right, I'm going to see if I can find something in here. So it looks like this. I'm probably going to butcher this. Somebody from this area is going to laugh at me, but Leachfield, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this market, and I don't know this market. I've never pursued storage in this area. It's the same concept, the same framework. So what I'm showing you now here, you can do anywhere. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on. So now that we've picked Leachfield, I think it is, Kentucky, I'm going to click on nearby, and we're going to type in self-storage, or you can do self-storage near me. Either one works fine, I believe. And so here's what we're going to do is you see all these little red dots. These little red dots is the Google Map Pack. So before we go over here, again, what I like to do is before I start diving in here, I just want to get a lay of the land. So I'm going to survey the landscape. I'm going to come over here, and I'm noticing there's a lot of storage in the area. And I'm instantly trying to pick up and see, okay, well, one thing I don't see is I don't see any public storage. Let me just do a quick scan here. I don't see public storage. I don't see extra space. I don't see Cube Smart, at least for now. And that doesn't surprise me because there's probably the population in Leachfield. I haven't looked it up, but it's probably not that big. Now, I do see a U-Haul neighborhood dealer, but that's okay. I mean, look at that. Only one star. So for now, I think this example is going to work great. If I saw a bunch of public storage, Cube Smart, extra space, life storage, then I probably wouldn't be looking for storage in this area. I'd be looking on the outskirts. I might, like, let's say there was a bunch of those REITs or institutional players here. I might be looking over here in these markets. Because remember, in storage, it's very hyper local. So we're typically looking within a 5-mile radius because storage is all about convenience for most people. If you live in Leachfield, you're not driving, let's just assume it was an hour to get to Short Creek. You're not driving an hour to go rent your stuff at Short Creek. No, you're going to look for storage in and around where you live, which makes perfect sense. So I'm just going to get a general lay of the land, and I see there's a lot of green land here, right? I do like the fact that I'm tucked away in between Louisville and Nashville, and I happen to know Nashville, obviously, you probably know this has exploded. There's a lot of growth happening north and south Nashville, and so that could potentially represent good opportunity for us in terms of the market. We'd have to drill down a little bit deeper. But for now, what I'm going to do is, now that I've kind of gotten a general sense, what I like to do is I like to just do a quick scan. And I don't want you initially to spend too much time on this, but sometimes, and I've trained virtual assistants on doing this, is like just getting a general sense, like, can you spot, like, clearly this 62, Interstate 62, like that's a major artery. And so is this one right here, South Main, I think it is. Can we spot any construction or development, right? And I'm not going to take the time to do that, but I'm just kind of getting a sense. Oftentimes you can spot like developments because you'll see a bunch of roofs that are all the same color, and you can see the pretty neighborhoods, and that can be a really, really good thing, okay? Because that means that there could be some growth in the area. So what I'm gonna do from here is I'm gonna go ahead and on the left-hand side, these are all of the storage facilities in this area. And I'm just doing a quick scan. And let's actually start with the storage scan. So the S in storage scan is site, as in website. Well, you see here how Westside has a website, because you see it right here. Storage Solutions of Kentucky, they have a website because it's right here. But check out Midway Self-Storage. No website, no website. So Midway, automatically, I'm adding to my list. Now, I'm not, by the way, I would also add Westside, and I will also add Storage Solutions of Kentucky. And I'll tell you why once I get there. But for now, let's just focus on S, the website. No website here. Look at Store More Storage. No website. Look at Triple L and B LLC. No website. AK Storage and Car Wash. No website. Jesh Property Storage Units. No website. I mean, it's wild how many storage facilities in this area don't have websites. All right. Now let's actually do something, since we're on the website topic, and I probably should have done a little bit of this work prior to hopping on here, but let's just take a peek at Westside Keep Safe Mini Storage, and let's click on the website. All right, this could not have worked out better for this example. I promise you, I didn't know this. I had never clicked on this site. This is not uncommon. They have a website, but it doesn't even work. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's my internet, maybe it's something, but I'm gonna go ahead and click again. The site can't be reached. Do you think that's a pretty strong indicator that it is a mom and pop operator that is not? Oh, okay. So it popped up, but check it out. The same example still applies. When you look at this website, does this look like a modern website? Does this look, I mean, look how old school this website is. They literally have, I think it's a PayPal. I don't know if this is a pay now, PayPal button. Please support our troops, which is amazing. But I mean, you can just tell this facility was built probably 15 to 20 years ago. Like literally, probably it was built 15 to 20 years ago. They have the rates right here. By the way, 10 by 10 for $45. That's really, really cheap. You may not know that. We'll get there. Trust me when I tell you that's cheap. Now, I also see 3.17 stars, only 7 reviews, and they're actually like putting that front and center. I can tell you with certainty, this is a mom and pop operator. This is somebody that is not super dialed in from an operations perspective. And now look, that doesn't mean they're a quote unquote motivated seller. That doesn't mean they're looking to sell. It just means that when you learn this cash flow map system, you're already going to be a step ahead of 99.9% of others out there that have no idea how to pursue these opportunities, no idea how to structure them, how to evaluate them, and then how to own and operate them. And you will. So that's the exciting stuff that's coming. But this facility would absolutely hit my list. And I think it's a perfect example of looking at a facility that does have a website, but that clearly is just not a nice looking site. It's not visually pleasing. It's just, I would be willing to bet almost anything that if I were to call these phone numbers, these are probably mobile numbers, and I'm most likely going to reach the owner. So we could continue to go on, but the S is for site. Now the T is for traffic. So let's use the same example here, and let me see if I can spot. So let me see if I can spot exactly where this facility is located. So let's see here. Okay, so I'm in the street view. All right, and the street view typically, I'll get to the A in appearance. So for now, let's not actually look at that. But here's what I want to do. This is the site. And okay, so it looks like it's right on top of 62. So on the cash flow maps lead tracker, that would be a positive. That'd be a green, that, hey, it's close to a major road. So that's a good thing. Online presence, we just looked at the online presence. In fact, let's go here and let's see. They have a bad online presence. Their website is terrible. Let's see here. They do have a website, but it didn't work initially, but then we got there and we saw what that looks like. I don't see any pictures. You see photos and videos. There's no pictures here. So not a good online presence. Reviews, not good reviews. Anything under 4 stars, no bueno, not good. The fact that they only have 7 reviews, also not good. In fact, let's take a quick peek here. Let's take a look at something here. Take a look at this. The last review I'm seeing 6 years ago, 2 stars. 5 years ago, 5 stars. Okay, so they got a 5-star. 4 years ago, 3 stars. And then you can actually start to read what the reviews are. But either way, this is not good. 1 star, 1 star, 6 years, and they don't even respond to the reviews. That's the crazy thing. So we looked at the site, we looked at the traffic, we looked at the online presence, we looked at the reviews. Let's actually look at the appearance. So let's go into the Google Street View, and right out of the gate, it just looks very industrial, right? It looks like a mobile home. Right next to it, now, granted, this image was captured May of 2023. So who knows? I'd love to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that, hey, maybe they've put some money into it. But typically what I'll do is I would drive around. I'd get a sense for the facility and for the area. I think we're going the wrong way here. But I would just take a look on the Google Street View and get a sense for, hey, how does a facility look? Does it look beat up and run down? What's the general just kind of view, right? And I think we're back to where we started. So it looks like it's right here. So that's what I would look at. Google listing. I would look at, do they have a Google My Business listing? Okay. And then we talked about email contact. Let's actually go here and see. I don't see email, but they have a phone number. So let me just click here, check availability. Check this out. Perfect. I'm glad I clicked there. So to check availability, you have to email them. So they don't even have a system online where you can rent. And check this out. PrestonSelfStorage@hotmail.com. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These are the types of opportunities that we are looking for. These are the types of opportunities that we're looking for. Okay. So let's actually go back and let me see if I could, because we got a little bit sidetracked here and somehow we ended up on Bright. So let's go back to self-storage. Here, let me go back this way. Okay, here we are. So now we're back to storage, and all of these facilities, you're going to go ahead and add to your list. Now, in an upcoming video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can have a virtual assistant do a lot of this busy work for you. For now, I want you to get into the hang of doing this yourself because you're going to start to just get an eye for what's a mom and pop facility. You're going to get a chance to practice the storage scan, which again is site, traffic, online presence, reviews and rates, STOR, the A is the appearance. Google Street View, do they have photos? The G is the Google My Business listing. Do they have that claimed? And the E is email or contact info. So you get an opportunity to do that. But as I scan down here, I'm asking myself, are these sophisticated operators in this market or are what we would call unsophisticated operators? Meaning, if I was to buy a storage facility in this market, I'm pretty confident that I could be the market leader. And once you go through the cash flow map system in this course, you're also going to feel the confidence that if you were to buy a facility in this market, you could be the market leader. In other words, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of competition per se. And that's just a sense I'm getting from what I'm seeing in this market. In fact, some of you watching this might decide to pursue this particular market. And if you do, please, 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 if you get something anywhere, let me know, okay? Because I want to hear about your success. I want to hear about your wins. So hopefully that helps you in terms of understanding the cash flow maps and how you can use Google Maps to go ahead and start looking for these opportunities. So here's what I want to do now. As we start to kind of wind down here, now is going to be your chance to go ahead as I start to kind of get my screen back up here. Now is going to be your chance to implement this system yourself and start to actually find facilities that fit your buy box blueprint, that match your market map, because I want you to take what we've learned here. I want you to implement the storage scan method. And I just want you to get some practice going and starting to actually build your list, okay? And now you're gonna find somewhere on this page, probably in the resources section, you're gonna find the lead tracker, okay? And the lead tracker is a simple Google spreadsheet that you're gonna be able to document the name of the facility. You're gonna document the address, and this is simple copy paste. By the way, I'm going to want you to have a virtual assistant or somebody else doing this for you. But initially, I want you to go ahead and go through this process because, again, I want you to just get the reps in and get sharp in terms of knowing what to look for. But you're going to start to build your list. And when you're serious about a specific facility, that is when you're going to pick up the phone call. And once you know that the storage owner is interested in selling or they're open to an offer, that's when you're gonna go through our deal filter system, right? And that we haven't gone through that yet. That's in an upcoming video on how do you evaluate these opportunities and what to do there. But once you know you got something you're working on, that's when you're gonna start to dig into the city. You're going to contact the building department to find out, are there any open permits for any new self-storage construction, anything in the pipeline. But you're going to start to dig into a lot of the demographics of the market, because if there is new supply of storage coming online, that can absolutely impact your ability to increase occupancy, raise rates, grow revenue. And so I want you to use the Google Maps save list features. So you can also save facilities that you see to tag facilities as maybe like a hot, warm, cold system. That's a pro tip right there. You can keep any notes or any contact information that you find. You can use the Google spreadsheet. Maybe some of you have a CRM. If you have a CRM that you're comfortable with, great, but I don't want you spending time in the CRM. I don't want you building out a custom CRM, anything crazy like that. Those are distractions. That is not going to get you closer to your first deal and to cash flow and for you to build wealth. I want you connecting with people, evaluating deals, and ultimately making offers and getting deals closed. So look, if you want to dive deeper into market data, again, you can use TractIQ. I do have an affiliate relationship with them. If you go to storagewins.com/TractIQ, that can help with a lot of this market research. But that's it. That's the cash flow maps method. Now you know how to scout markets, how to identify mom and pop facilities, and filter out all the noise. So here's where you get to roll up your sleeves and you get to implement what you just learned. Your next step is going to be simple. I want you to take this from insight to action. And you're going to find a link below this video or somewhere on this page where you can download the Cash Flow Maps lead tracking spreadsheet. And think of this as your master tracking system where you get to control center for the deal flow and contact information and follow-ups and all that good stuff. We're going to keep it super simple, nothing sexy. We want to keep it like easy peasy, okay? Because there's been a saying that simplicity scales, complexity fails. All right. So inside here, you're going to be able to track the facility name, the address and the phone number, email and contact information, and it has the storage scan where you can even rate, and you can do a green for hot, a yellow for warm, a red for cold, or a blue for cold, whatever works for you. But here's your first goal is today, I want you to identify and add 25 facilities that you find. That is your micro win for today. And for the week, I want you to add 100 facilities to your list. That might sound like a lot, but if we went back to that Google and that Litchfield market, I could easily probably add 10 to 15, right? Within 10 to 15 minutes max. So this one sheet is going to give you instant visibility to your pipeline, and you're going to start to make progress. Now, once you've added your first 25, I'd love for you to just share that in the Storage Wins Facebook group and tag me. Use the hashtags, hashtag Storage Wins, hashtag cash flow maps, and hashtag storage scan so that I know what level in the course you're currently at. And let us know if you have questions, and we're here to support you and build a relationship. I can't wait to see, I should say, the progress that you're making. And in the next video training, we're going to actually start to take those leads and turn them into real, meaningful conversations. I'll walk you through the direct contact blueprint so that you can actually start connecting with owners, building trust, uncovering true off-market opportunities. You're going to understand how to have that conversation, what questions to ask. Don't freak out. I realize there might be someone watching this that instantly is getting butterflies in their stomach or that makes them feel uncomfortable. Trust me, I'm going to simplify this for you. I'm going to let you know exactly the framework and how to have the conversation. I have actually found that conversations with these storage owners is a lot easier than with quote unquote motivated house owners or single family owners. So with that being said, take massive imperfect action. Your first goal is to add 25 facilities to your lead tracker today. Within the next 7 days, I want you to have gotten to 100. And within the next 30 days, I want you to get to 300. Now, we're not going to stop there. We're going to always continue to build, but that's going to give you a solid targeted list from your market map that's matching your buy box blueprint, and then you can start to filter and hone in. So thanks for coming along on this ride and journey. Trust me when I tell you, if you just take massive imperfect action, if you have an attitude of progress, not perfection, you will win. You just have to execute. You have to believe in yourself. You've already made a decision and a commitment to invest in yourself, and you've gotten this far. Let's keep going. But the most important part is take what you've learned here and let's actually apply it. Let's implement it. That's exactly what I've done to win in storage. That's exactly what our Storage Wins community members have done and are doing. And that's what I want for you. So I'll catch you in the next video. So now you have the system. The biggest mistake people make in storage isn't knowledge, it's the lack of consistent deal flow. It's not having a system in place that consistently brings in opportunities. And once you start using the cash flow maps method, then you're gonna know exactly where the next opportunity is gonna come from. And here's the thing, what you just saw is only one tiny piece of the cash flow maps acquisition system. Inside this full system, you'll get access to all the modules, the full training library, and most importantly, the same exact tools and resources that we use in our storage business that you're not going to find here on YouTube. So if you want to go deeper in a place where it's neatly organized with all the tools and the resources, all the bells and whistles, so to speak, then click the link in the description below and create your free cash flow maps account. Everything is, again, neatly organized for you step by step so that you can learn, execute, implement. So with that being said, I'll see you on the inside.